say there was what, like how many people on SGDQ last year? There was like a good 20 that
All
signed up.
right.
It's like,
I'm cutting you off.
So,
Whatever discussion you were having, it ends
we don't really
here.
care about the show. We're just
Yeah,
talking
nobody wants.
We just want to chat.
Yeah, that's
Come
it.
on.
That's it. Welcome to episode number 9 of the Final Split, everybody. This week, I think we're all a little sleep deprived. We're all a little. I don't know. We're out of it. That's okay though. I had trouble finding my controller. We didn't know if we were going to have the show, but we got the show. So joining us this week again, as usual, the regulars on the show in the green box, Sinister One.
What's up, everybody?
Hello, hello. Anything exciting this week, Sinister One?
There's always exciting stuff.
Yeah.
I'll save it for the episode.
Save
though.
it. Oh,
Yeah, we got lots to talk about.
All right, okay. Spike Vegeta below me here in the red. Spike, how are you?
Fat. Donkey is fat.
Okay.
That's all I know this week is Donkey is fat.
It's a good lesson. Yeah, you've been learning the Donkey Kong Country, right?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, but Donkey is fat.
Okay.
You don't realize until you play that game.
No.
But no, Donkey is a lot of fun. Shout outs to TJP in the chat, who I talked to a year and a half ago about learning that game. And I wasn't lying. I finally picked it up. It just took,
Just took a while, yeah. You're there. You're there. Yeah. And our guest this week, representing the 502 crew, and actually getting a webcam for the occasion, we have... Oh, look at the shirt.
Gotta get that in.
Oh,
Nice.
502 True. The Darkman 78, everybody. Darkman is here.
What's up, guys?
So glad to have you here. This is going to be a fun one, guys. So let's dive right into it. I'm ready. You guys are ready. Let's get to our first topic of the day. If I can, now that I have the controller, if I can get it working.
We lost the controller again.
It's broken.
It's broken.
All right, guys. Our press start topic of the day. I think we're all really excited about this. Romscout was named the speedrunning community manager with Twitch. This is really big news. This is exciting. It means Twitch is interested in working with the speedrunning community, and they really want to make it happen. What are your thoughts, guys?
Just like you already said, this is super exciting. Speedrunning has always been a niche hobby in my eyes. I don't think it's really moved beyond that. I still think it's a smaller community of people who like to mess with speedrunning. And to have somebody who gets it, quote unquote, gets it on that other side with a little more power, with Twitch. I think we've already been moving down the road of Twitch wanting to highlight speedrunning a little bit more, and I just think this accelerates that process. So, yeah, super excited, and just Romscout in general, what a great guy.
Yeah, so. and I guess to kind of accentuate what you said, somebody on the inside versus somebody on the outside trying to learn the community. I mean, they really went to, the guy behind it all, and that's a really good pick for them. Sinister One, you agree? Any thoughts here?
Absolutely. I think it's fantastic for the community. I think it's a great choice with Romscout. He's somebody that's been around a long time in the speedrunning community. He's obviously well known and well liked, and he's now the person that runs SGDQ, so that doesn't hurt either. And I think the marathons are a big part of why Twitch was interested to begin with, so it seems only natural that's the direction that they would want to go in. So yeah, I'm very interested to see what kind of changes actually occur because of this. Like, in a year from now, what are we talking about?
Sure. Yeah. It seems like this kind of position is built for expanding beyond what's already out there. Like, I don't think it's the intent of Twitch to kind of like take over the GDQs or things that are like already out there, but they're looking for maybe more ways to just get involved and have a presence.
Well, he wrote a great post on the SDA forums just kind of about, what this is and what it's not. So I encourage everybody to kind of head over and take a look at that. He does kind of outline what this is all about. So, because it is kind of like, well, what is going to happen here?
Yeah, and like to note, it's not like he's the guy you're going to go to say fix my emotes or I need partner. Hook
the chat's
up,
broken, Romscout. What the hell?
Right? Yeah, chat's not working. It's all your fault. Like, no.
Can you unman me, Romscout?
Yeah, exactly. Darkman, are you in the unanimous consent here? You're excited about this?
Absolutely. There's not a single better person to be in this position than Romscout. Like, this guy, he lives and breathes the speedrunning community. I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, it's just, there's nobody that understands the community better than him, in my opinion. Like, it's just like a good example. Like, Board Deathly, one of my 502 friends, nobody really knows him outside of, the 502, but like he was like going up to him during AGDQ. He was watching his practice run, things like that. Like he has a general like want to know like different runs. He wants to know people, things like that. He's not gonna like say, "Oh, I don't know who you are. I don't care about you." So that's why Rom is just like the perfect guy for this spot.
Very, very down to earth. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what's so good about it. He's got a really good head about him, and wants the community to succeed. So I think we're all pretty stoked. So congrats again to Romscout. Looking forward to seeing what you do, and absolutely, you'll do us proud. So let's move on from that, though, guys. Actually, if you want to read more about it, check out Rom's post on the SDA forums about it. He actually kind of posted some detail there, as Sinister One mentioned, explaining a little bit more about what's going on there. So on that note, guys, let's move on and take a look at this week's Clippy Clip. There's a lot happening in A Link Between Worlds. Spike Vegeta, you want to break this down a little bit?
Yeah, sure. These are all three. When I originally brought this up, Link Between Worlds is a game that, it's a Zelda game, so it's going to get busted open. And in a mere, 6 months it's been, they found so many more skips that has allowed them to bust this game from probably about 215 glitchless to about 134 of them is now.
Yeah, so we're looking at a run that's about the same length as Link to the Past now.
Right. It's, a new record was actually just set yesterday, but I believe the runner's name is Zahir. And, so you can go check out his Twitch page. But just set it yesterday at a 134. Here you got 3 new skips found by 3 runners just within the last 12 days. It's pretty insane. This game has literally dropped 15 minutes in the last 2 weeks. Wow. So it definitely makes me very excited. I think speedruns of this game are really good. I think just the way they structured it, where it is non-linear, which works better in speedrunning sets. You get more items involved. Like here, you're seeing they're able to skip. Any of you who have played the game, there are 4 trials that you need to do. Essentially, the game's castle section, you're able to completely skip that by utilizing wind power, which, or rather, in junction with bombs. I don't know exactly how it works, but you're able to clip up to the roofs and just go out of bounds and go to sections of the game that you're not supposed to get to. Just cutting out chunks left and right. Whole dungeons are being completely cut out, like the Desert Palace, boss key skips, lots of cool stuff. So make sure if you haven't checked out runs to go check out Link Between Worlds. It's a really great new speed game. I know there was some controversy about it being a part of SGDQ just because it's so new, but so I don't know if it says more about like other games are just built better or the Zelda speedrunning community just won't take no for an answer. They're gonna bust their games up.
Yeah, I always wonder about that. Obviously the bigger series, the more popular ones like the Marios and the Zeldas, those are going to get more attention just because they are more popular games. But I wonder, like, is it just this, same 10 or 20 people working on every Zelda game that they manage to get the same problems? Like, you see these tricks and you can associate them with other Zelda games. It's not even, necessarily something new. It's always like, oh, hey, we're clipping out of bounds again. Like, I haven't seen that before. I don't know how you came up with that. But, so...
though, to be fair, right? I mean, it's kind of, you can clip out of bounds. It's not just a Zelda series thing.
It's very true. It's
sure.
Just you
but
can
it's
kind
just
of
like
see these
how fast it's been, like how quickly. I know games that obviously we busted open something like, I don't know, Yoshi's Island, but it took 2 decades to do it almost. Whereas like Link Between Worlds, boom, here we are 6 months in, people were finding, all right, we can skip this dungeon, we can skip that dungeon, we can cut out this whole half of it, we can get up out of here. I don't know. And it's like,
do you guys think that that'll happen more for newer games that are being released now that the speedrunning community is kind of where it is, as opposed to games that were released 20 years ago? And does that make a difference?
I do think you're going to say, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it depends on the game still. I mean, obviously having the speedrunning community growing, newer games are going to be broken like this. Link Between Worlds is a perfect example of like, hey, this is a really popular game. It's going to have people wanting to speedrun it from day one. There's going to be people interested in trying to break it. But then there's still going to be series where, there's a game that's sitting for 2 or 3 years and nobody's really interested in trying to break it apart. To the extent that games like Zelda games or Mario games get analyzed. It all depends on the interest of the task community, the speedrunning community, the glitch hunters. Um, but yeah, I think kind of the dots kind of all got connected here for A Link Between Worlds, and people started breaking it apart and enjoying it. So, what do you think, Spike?
Oh,
Sorry, I cut you off. I wanted to give you a chance.
I thought you had it. No.
Yeah.
I pretty much just agree with what you're saying there. I think it's you do have, as the speedrun community grows, there's going to be more interest in busting open more and more series. I think Zelda's just such a series that from day one, it's not 10 or 20 people. You look at it, there's probably literally hundreds of people who are searching for these every day. I mean, I'm just sitting there streaming, playing, I don't know, something like a new Donkey Kong game like Tropical Freeze, and people are already wondering, hey, if you do this, would it possibly do that? And then it's that sort of interest that sparks, I guess, finding this sort of stuff. But I don't know, Zelda people, I don't know if it's just built better to be broken. I don't know, it sounds kind of weird, but
could be that too.
Yeah. So either way, it's exciting. I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully, I don't want to call him out or anything, but I know Xandergoth hasn't picked up the game in a little while. He's got it for SGDQ. I hope he's going to jump on it and learn all this new stuff quick, because I want to see all this at SGDQ.
All right. Well, I don't know, Darkman. Let's compare this to like your boy Leon's Link's Awakening. Is it? Do you think it's more broken? Like what is it about handheld Zeldas? What is it about Zeldas that just?
I think it's just a combination of like many things. It's like you have the developer. I mean, a lot of like finding glitches is how well or how badly does the developer program the game. I mean, that's what it comes down to in a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, I mean, Zeldas just have such a huge following that the more interest you have, the more interest you have in finding glitches. So really, yeah, a lot of it does come down to the community behind it.
I agree, yeah. So, guys, keep looking out for these. These were all relatively recent tricks that were found that we showcased. There are plenty more in the game, but these are within the past few weeks now.
12 days, the last 3 runs,
All right, so yeah, lots more to be found for sure, but continue to check those out, Link Between Worlds speedruns. I know a lot of people were expressing interest in running this game as well, but are kind of waiting to get capture devices. That's kind of a limiting factor for a lot of people. They don't want to run it if they can't stream it. So
it's an expensive capture card, that's for sure.
It is, but I think now we're finally hitting the point in this game too where it might motivate some people to look into it a little bit more seriously now that it has, I guess, more potential, I would say, than it did initially anyway. So
it makes it that much more amazing that the game is that busted open now, considering how many people have actually invested in capture. Because you're not gonna have a capture card. Like, I own the game, I didn't have any interest to look for anything. So I'm not streaming, but apparently there's been enough people to find it, enough different-minded people, I guess, when they're running it. So
okay, well, let's move on, guys, and get to our interview with Darkman here, since he is the guest of the week. So, Darkman, I guess the first question I have for you. It's one that I know the answer to, but some people don't, and I think you would be best to maybe answer it for everybody. Can you explain what the 502 crew is and how you became a part of it?
Sure. So basically, I'll give you a little background. It all started before AGDQ 13. That's when the crew was actually formed, really.
Okay.
So we all originally come from this message board, and we have basically like a little group that discuss speedrunning and all that. But none of us really, there's like maybe 1 or 2 people that are actually involved in the community. The rest of us were basically the equivalent of stream monsters. So we were watching stuff, and then AGDQ 13 came around, and like basically the way 502 came about was during one of the days. For those who don't know, there's an error that you get on a website called the 502 bad gateway. That's when your website goes down. So we had that happen to us a few times that day. And somebody from the message board happened to make a donation that said something along the lines of like, shout outs to my favorite community, my favorite 502 bad gateway community. And ever since then, that moniker just stuck with us, and we've just been called the 502 crew since.
And so were you one of the people that experienced the 502 then? Were you watching it when it happened, or?
Yes.
Okay.
I was there when we basically formed it. It was real fun. I mean, I would say like that moment was really it. like we had a community and we were watching speedruns, but we really became involved in the community after that. Like that was like the defining moment for us.
That kind of kick-started everything, sure.
Yeah.
I guess from there, then you went on to do Street Fighter Cross Mega Man at SGDQ. What was that like? Getting ready for that?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I actually didn't put a whole lot of time into it. Like that was like a period in my time when I was like doing a lot of different things, and so Street Fighter Cross Mega Man was kind of like on the back burner for me. But I still did a fair amount of preparation for it. It was kind of good playing that game because basically nobody else at the time was running it, so I didn't really have like a standard to live up to or anything. So it was nice in that regard. But yeah, the run itself was it was well up until like what was it, the boss rush where I made a mistake and basically cost me like 6 minutes. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, other than that, it was a good run.
We've all got one of those.
Yeah. I was gonna say I have like nightmares of the death loop in my Mario World run too. Like every night I just go to sleep and oh no, I died again. All right.
It was entertaining though, Golden.
Yeah. Did you let's see, I'm trying to think. Did you do any runs at HDQ this past HDQ?
I did not.
Okay. So is there I guess a reason behind that? Is that you just kind of want to take it off or
Well, for HDQ 14, right?
Yep.
I submitted Mega Man 5, but
Okay.
I hadn't learned it at the time. So Mike said that, you know, he felt he had better options, especially with people who are already established, so he cut it. So
Okay.
that was basically it.
So you did try to push. Yeah, Spike.
But as it turns out, Mega Man 5 now gets to be a part of SGDQ, part of we got a couple of Mega Man games that I think have been on the back burner for years from the GDQs. We got Dark Man doing 5. We got Golden and Dark Terex doing 6. We got Mega Man 5 for the Game Boy. We're gonna have both 5s.
Bid war for which 5 is better.
That's what it actually should be. Now, for a while there, it was actually set as a Mega Man 5 versus 6 bid war, and I gotta ask you, now both games are in. Maybe some games have been dropped that allow it to. Do you think it actually could have been a successful bid war? It was one that I spoke against quite a bit. Do you think it could have been a good thing, or do you accept both get to play now? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, obviously I'm really excited that we both get to play because it would have been like I've been watching Terex and Golden put in all the effort they have into Mega Man 6, so it would have just been brutal to see one of us or two people have to, you know, sit out. So yeah, obviously I'm really excited that both of us are in now. But as for the bid war, I don't know, like I'm kind of torn. Like on one hand, I get it, bid wars, you know, they hype up donations, whatnot, but at the same time, like Mega Man 5 and 6, they're kind of really games people don't know about. They've never been at a GDQ before, so like I don't know how well they would resonate with the bid war crowd. So I don't know, kind of like torn.
Yeah, just as I say, just to kind of add to it, since I'm on the same page with that. Yeah, I kind of think like that was the biggest problem with it was that when I think of a bid war, I want popular Series A versus popular Series B, or at the very least take two games from the same series that are really popular and make people put money up for it, because I really don't think 5 and 6 would have caught on, and all it really would have done was just left somebody or some buddies out of the marathon. So it's really cool that we get to not have to worry about that now.
I mean, at the end of the day, I wasn't like too mad that, hey, I'm in a bid war. It's like whatever. It's either that or I don't get to play my game. So I'd rather be in a bid war than not have to play my game. So
sure.
I just try to look at it from that perspective rather than worry about, oh, my game's in a bid war. It's the worst thing ever.
Right.
Now, that being said, Mega Man 5, as you just stated, 5 and 6 are games that not a lot of people know about. To anyone in the chat who might not know about Mega Man 5 speedrunning, what draws you to speedrunning that game? What are kind of your favorite aspects of it? What sets it apart?
Oh, what draws it now? I mean, basically, it's just the fact that really my motivation for it is the current best run for this game has some silly mistakes in it. And I just want to put out a run there that's maybe not perfect, but it doesn't look as silly at times as that run. I mean, that run had some great aspects of it, but it also had some kind of weird aspects of it. So basically, that's my motivation, is to show a run that gives the game what it deserves.
And is that currently held by Ohan?
Correct. He has a 36-35.
Leave it to Ohan to have all the Mega Man records.
Yeah. Basically.
Speaking of like the run quality, do you want to explain the kind of notoriety of the SDA run of Mega Man 5 at the moment?
I actually talked about this a little bit, the 502 marathon during my run. Josh Steiger's run, he's the one that has the SDA run, is it's an experience.
I can't wait to hear this now.
Here's the name.
It's what I want to say. It's like 43 minutes or something like that. It's like it's really long, and I mean, it's just reading some of the commentary on the run. Like for instance, for those that don't know, there's a weapon called Beat in the game, and Beat is basically a mechanical bird. And what we use Beat for is the main reason we use it for is the capsule at the end of the game, the final boss. Without Beat, you're subject to the mercy of RNG. Like it's literally unhittable most of the time. So that's why we use Beat, because he can travel anywhere on the screen. So Josh Steiger puts in his comments that he doesn't think Beat is necessary, and he thinks without Beat it's faster. So it's just like things like that. It's just the run is just. I mean,
can I just add a little backstory to this, please?
Oh, no.
Go ahead, please. Educate us.
For people that don't know who Josh Steiger is, his screen name on SDA was Liger of Fortune. I say was because he was banned a couple years ago. But he still has numerous runs on the site. And he was most notably known for his lack of effort in speedrunning, or at least his expressed lack of effort. He would be like his Mega Man 5 run. If you asked him how many attempts he did, he'd probably be like, oh, maybe like 7. Like that.
I just cranked this out in a day and submitted it.
Like you have to see some of his run, and it literally looks like a Let's Play.
Yeah, so it's definitely worth checking out for people who haven't seen it.
I'm gonna have to go watch it now.
Yeah,
yeah, I know. That's after party.
Final split after party. We're just gonna restream.
Josh.
There we go.
I couldn't even finish watching.
What was his name again? What was his screen name?
Josh Steiger.
Liger of Fortune.
Liger of Fortune.
Liger of Fortune. Yeah.
The less popular spin-off.
The mythical creature that is a half lion, half tiger, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was just like a less popular Wheel of Fortune spin-off on the Animal Channel. Animal Planet.
That would have been funnier, but no,
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's this other creature because he would reference it in his comments at times.
So I want to get to the 502 marathon in a little bit. We're going to talk about that. So not to tackle that topic specifically right now, but let's talk a little bit about your run for the 502 marathon. So how did that go this morning? I was up for it. Were you staying up all night for it? Did you get some sleep at least?
No, I did get some sleep, but there's no way. Like I was sleep deprived the previous day, so there was no way I could have stayed up that long.
Oh, okay.
Aside from one thing, I had a death. Aside from that death, it was a pretty solid run. I think it was like 38-40 something. If I got that
by 5 minutes. Hey.
Yeah, exactly. I got a world record by 5 minutes, guys. But yeah, I mean, if I get a run like that at SGDQ, I won't be too upset. I mean, I'd obviously rather have a deathless run, but that wasn't too bad, so I can't complain.
Cool. So any other plans, any other games outside of Mega Man 5 that you're looking into, or is that kind of your focus still at this point?
I mean, for now, that's my focus. I intend to focus on it after SGDQ because I don't want to stop until I get a time that I feel like I'm happy with. As for what's after that, I don't know. Like maybe another Mega Man, maybe something else. I kind of want to do something like on the side though, because I put so much time into Mega Man 5. It kind of like, you kind of get burnt out. So
it needs something to distract you. Yeah.
Yeah. It might be Triple.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Ooh, Trip World. Nice.
Yeah. Because Triple is like just one of those games where you can just have fun with it and get all the time. So
I know you already showed quite a bit of knowledge in it with the 3-way race last night. You did a lot of commentary for it. So that looks like a really fun speed game.
Yeah, it is.
Sinister One, what were you going to say?
Yeah. Oh no, I had a non-gaming related question.
Go for it.
I had no good time to segue into it, so I'm just putting it out there. I know that you play poker. You've played in the tournaments that we do at the GDQs. Do you have any like really memorable poker stories that are brief that you could share, even if it was just like a hand, like a really bad beat you took or something? You know, anything that comes to mind quickly.
Why'd you have to put me on the spot? You could have told me beforehand.
Damn. I could ask how you got into
rehearse
poker.
This.
Yeah.
Let's do this. How did you get
I-
into poker? Answer that now, and then by the end of the show, when we go to the Q&A, you will have thought of a good hand.
I actually do have a thing that doesn't involve me at all, but it's just a good story behind one thing. I'm sure you remember this, Sinister. It happened on the 2+2 forums. Do you know the story of Bing Bang?
I think I
Bing
remember.
Bang Wow?
Go for it. Yeah,
Okay,
go.
so basically, this is like a while ago. I want to say like 4 years ago or something like that. This one guy, there's this forum called 2+2. It's like basically the premier poker forum. Everybody goes there. And there's like this section that's like basically a bunch of trolls, the equivalent of it. And the guy posts there, and he's like, "So I have this message that I type whenever I win a hand, heads up." And heads up is, of course, 1 versus 1.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever he ended up winning a pot, he would say "Bing Bang Blow." God, I forgot the whole thing to it, but basically it's like "Bing Bang Blow. I just won." He was playing basically $50. So he's like, "I took your $50 and I'm gonna rub it on my titties tonight." And that thing just blew up. Like people made like a song for it and stuff like that. It was just like
okay. You know the guy who made the song, right?
Who was the guy? I don't remember.
The guy that made the song. This is so crazy because the guy that made the song is in the SDA forums.
Is he really?
Yes, he's into speedrunning. I've seen him post on the SDA forums. I swear to God.
Great.
It wouldn't happen to be. It wouldn't happen to be Liger of Fortune, would it?
No.
Oh man.
No, I think his name is Speedribes, I believe, is the deal.
I'm gonna do that actually.
All right. Well, you've got some homework there, Dark Man. You got to find the song for everybody.
See, I thought you brought it up because of that, because he was like into speedrunning or whatever. He's into like some Zelda speedruns. He's into. I know.
Interesting.
So.
Like he's a fan, or he actually tries to run it himself?
I don't know. I think he's. I know he posts. So maybe he helps out with strategy or something. Maybe he runs a little bit.
Interesting.
Cool.
One more question I have for you before we move on and let you figure out the poker stuff if you want to link it. When we go to the GDQs, there's been a lot of outside trips. I know you've been on quite a few of them. You've been to the bowling alley, and I think you went to laser tag as well. Do you have like a favorite trip you've gone on as part of the GDQs?
Ooh.
What's your favorite excursion?
It's tough, actually. It's hard to decide. It's definitely an AGDQ trip. It's either between the bowling that we had or the DC trip that we had.
Okay.
Both of them are really good in their own aspects. Obviously, Golden sandbagging us in bowling was an experience. For those who don't know,
I hustled him so badly. I apologize so much. I used to bowl, and we played the first game, and I bowled terribly. I bowled like 100 or something, and then they're like, okay, let's play for money. So they put $5 on the line. Everybody on our lane. Whoever just gets the highest score wins. And out of nowhere, I bowled like the best game of my life, and I bowled like a 213 or something. Yeah, I swear I could never repeat it. I am a lifetime like 120 bowler.
Oh, so this was you were not trying to hustle them.
Oh no, like
that's what he said.
I thought this was like a setup. You're like setting them up.
No. This is absolutely like I got so lucky, and it looked like I was hustling, and like if I was asked to do it again, I would never be able to do it. But
this is how a hustler would answer that
exactly.
question.
He's on the show right now.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't try.
I didn't cheat in that speed run. I didn't cheat in that speed run.
Oh, whoops!
I didn't use turbo. Yeah. But yeah,
that night was just fantastic. And then also the DC trip was just awesome because it was just a bunch of people. We had some of the Europeans there, and we just had a bunch of chill people there. We were having a really good time. So yeah, I mean,
do we have a Denver trip in mind?
Ooh, I mean, the problem with Denver trips is that we have no transportation for the most part, so it's a lot harder to organize things. Like, I basically organized the bowling and the laser tag last at AGDQ, but I don't envision myself organizing anything this time around because it's just so hard to, get people willing to commit. So
sure, yeah, it'll depend on who can get us around once we're there, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, like at last SGDQ, I mean, who had a car? I think Sinister, you had a car, right? That was like
I had rented a car, yeah,
Yeah,
at SGDQ.
that was like
But
I'd never heard of anybody. Like,
yeah,
driving
most people did not have cars. It's true.
Yeah, so that's what makes it really hard. But we'll see. Might do something.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure we'll come up with something. It'll be a good time. I can't believe it's so close too already. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
Starting to get down to those like countdown days where you're saying, okay, this many days.
I do not feel ready at all.
No. You need a little bit more time.
I'm not going.
He's going to change his mind and go to ESA instead, and it'll.
There you go.
Yeah, I need another month. I'm going to ESA. All right. Well, Darkman, thanks for being on the show this week. You're going to stick around and talk with us over these next few topics. And guys in the chat, if you have questions for Darkman later in the show, we'll take those. So start to think of those right now. But let's go ahead and get to this week's big plays. It's been a while since we've had some big plays, I think. There's been a week or two that we didn't have them, but we have them this week. Spike, back to you for this one. What's going on here?
I was about to say, so this is, a community member. We don't talk a lot about the action RPGs on the show, but I think this is a truly noteworthy performance by Biscuit047, and of course part of the Kingdom Hearts speedrunning community. And I think this is one of the best speed categories out there. It's Kingdom Hearts 1.5 Proud Mode. And what Proud Mode is, it's essentially the hardest difficulty. And what Biscuit was able to do here was have a deathless run, which is extremely difficult in this game. It's a game that's full of RNG elements, and it's not RNG in the sense of like maybe a turn-based RPG is, but he is always having to pay attention to every enemy on screen. There's usually multiple targets, and just making sure that nothing kills him or takes cheap shots on him. Everything in the game kills you in 2 hits. Right there, the first act we showed off was the Captain Hook fight. It's actually one of the most dangerous fights in the game because of the multiple targets. To go ahead and talk about this one right here, you've got the famous Riku 2 fight. Any of you who have played this game remember it's the fight you died 1,000 times to. And as you see here, Biscuit is able to loop him with 4-hit combos. It's kind of hard to talk about all this stuff so quickly, but with 4-hit combos, he's able to get an auto counter from him to constantly keep him in that loop and stay away from his more dangerous attacks. Here you've got the Invisibles that he's fighting against. Without a doubt, the most annoying enemies that you can fight in the Kingdom Hearts series. Again, everything kills you in 1 or 2 shots. They can break out of anything you want, and he's having to deal with a room full of about 10 of them right now. Able to manage all of them very well here. Again, just the fact that Biscuit was able to do this without a single death is truly a great accomplishment. However long this lasts the record for, that's a big moment. Probably an average run would have 6 or 7 deaths in this game, so big moment. And then here, one more I guess, highlighted moment. You got the Answer 2 fight. All these attacks where you see that big dark enemy that's swinging at you, those are one-shots. If they hit him, then he's dead. So he's able to work in his dodge roll. That attack he just blocked there, that would have brought him into critical health. Just constantly able to work with whatever random pattern the enemy throws at him. If you have the time, please go check out twitch.tv/biscuit047, especially if you like watching my runs. He's just as good, if not completely better than me. Just unbelievably talented runner. I know he's run stuff like Mario 64 in the past. Look for him to crank out more runs like this in the future. Big achievement by him this week.
Yeah, it's always awesome when so many different games have like a death counter. Like I think of like Super Meat Boy as like the notorious, like I have a death counter when I'm playing this game because people want to know like how many times have I died this run. But the highlight worthy thing is that you've got this death counter sitting there and it's 0 the whole way through the game. That's yeah, really impressive stuff. So as far as like trying to beat this run, this is a world record run at the moment, I believe, correct?
Yes.
What would it take to beat this run? Are there gaps in there anywhere, or is it going to be tough? Is that going to stand?
I watched through quite a bit of his run before I sent in these highlights, and there are some slower fights for him. Again, it is a game that has RNG elements to it. It's mostly up to your control what kind of run you're able to crank out from that. But yeah, I definitely think, I know both of us have talked about a goal of getting it. His time is 3 hours and 28 minutes. We're trying to push it to like the 3:25 range, but that would be pretty darn impressive if you can get it to that point. There's definitely some slower fights, but it's likely going to take another deathless run to do it. So
okay,
yeah, but we can get there.
All right.
Shout outs to Biscuit.
Yeah, there you go. Biscuit047. Be sure to check out his Twitch page for the complete run, as opposed to just the highlights that we showed there. Let's go ahead, though, and move on to talk about the topics of the week in Real Talk. The first of which I think our guest will know a thing or two about here. The 502 Marathon is currently ongoing and likely to be our raid target at the end of the show. So 502 Marathon, is it meeting expectations, Darkman? Is it exceeding them? How's it going?
Dude, it's overwhelmingly exceeded any of our expectations. Like, I mean, you know, people kind of know us, but we're really not well known, like, casually, you know, in the regular, like, just outside of, like, the speedrunning community. So we didn't really have much expectations for it, but we've raised over $1,500 last I checked. And it's just, that may not seem like a lot for, you know, most marathons, but for us, it just totally blown away our expectations. So it's just been a fantastic time, and I'm really glad to have been a part of it.
Yeah, I think the general notion that I've seen from all of these online marathons as we approach like SGDQ is that for the most part they're really knocking it out of the park and you know, exceeding their goals, and whether your goal is, you know, 1,500 or 5,000, it seems like no matter what you put, people are exceeding it. So that's really cool. As far as this goes, this isn't the first 502 marathon, correct? There was one last year as well.
There was in November. We just did it for fun because people kept saying, hey, we should do a marathon. Hey, we should do a marathon. And I'm like, well, okay, let's do it then, because you guys just keep saying we're going to do it, but we're not actually doing it. So, yeah, we just did it for fun last time.
Okay. And this goes throughout the weekend then, up till Sunday, right?
Actually, it ends. The final run is in like 5 hours from now. So it's going to end fairly soon.
Okay. And any plans for bonus stream, or is that, you know, going to be the end?
Probably not, because most of us, including all the restreamers, are like exhausted, so I doubt we'll do anything bonus related.
Nobody's got any gas left in the tank.
No, like Board Deathly has pretty much been like the main organizer since Walconet. Walconet was initially like the main organizer for it, but you know, real life stuff happened, so Board Deathly has pretty much taken over, and he's just like absolutely dead. So I don't expect to do anything after it's over.
Spike, do you have any thoughts on what you've seen so far?
Probably my favorite aspect. I've checked in on the marathon probably 6, 7 or so times, and every time I've tuned in, there are multiple people in the call. I feel like that's a formula that going forward for any marathon, if you're having fun, then I'm having fun as a viewer. If you're not having fun, then why should I be watching? And I feel like you guys, there's always people in there for every game. It feels like, you know, even if someone doesn't have the knowledge about it, someone's there being the quote-unquote dumb guy. Like, I'm going to ask the runner questions, because I've definitely been a part of online marathons where both I've been the runner and I've seen other runners where they're just kind of by themselves. There's not much care. You know, you almost get this idea that they almost want the marathon to be over. They can just skip a run. But I haven't sensed that at all with this marathon. I feel like you guys have really kept it together. And I think, like you say, 1,500, there was some people who threw around that, like, oh, you only need, like, again, quote unquote BNRs. You need big name runners in the event, and that'll make it successful. And like you said, you know, no offense, you guys are mostly like, you know, partners or sub people in the group, but raised $1,500. I think that's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, so I think it shows the camaraderie. You know, it's the same group of guys just rooting for each other's runs and hanging out, having a good time. You don't need those big names to gather the support of the people, I guess. Sinister, have you had a chance to watch any of it?
A little bit, yeah. And, you know, I think Spike covered it pretty well. But I think anytime you get a group of people together that know each other well, and it's a good group of people, and they, you know, care about what they're doing and care about having fun while they're doing it, and have the camaraderie to pull it off, and, you know, then it's going to go well. So, and I'm glad you guys are having success, and I hope it continues to have more success.
One thing that I'll add too is that the chat seems to be really into it, and I've seen like the same faces in the chat throughout the whole marathon. So like you're gathering people to watch it, and then they're sticking around and watching it for a large portion of time. I've seen quite a few chat chants as well. People getting behind some runs. I know Gimmick was really hype.
Yeah, that was pretty hype.
I think Crescent. Yeah, I think Crescent might be the greatest Gimmick player of all time. If I can just judge based on what the chat said. And then the Trip World Race was a three-way international race. We had Chile, China, and the U.S. represented. So, yeah, having some fun over there, guys. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, you should check out the final hours of the 502 marathon going on now. 5 hours and 2 minutes remaining. I don't know. Maybe
Ooh, maybe,
could
maybe.
be. So yeah, we'll be sure to raid them at the end of the show too. Now I can't forget who we're raiding. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our next topic here, which is another online marathon that is in progress and actually almost wrapping up. It's Crystals for Life. We talked about it last week on the show. It's the RPG speedrunning marathon put on by Poxnor and taking place in Canada. What are your thoughts this year on the execution of Crystals for Life? The first thing I guess I would point out as we lead into this topic, the goal was set for $50,000, and at the moment, I'm not sure what the current value is, but before the show I checked and it was over 20,000. So what do we think, Spike?
Well, the first thing I want to say, I know I've got a lot of good friends there, so I'm not just sugarcoating this, but yes, they're not going to reach 50,000, but they might end up in the ballpark of 25. Who knows? Maybe there's going to be a late push. They get close to 30,000, and that's nothing to scoff at. That hey, you raised $25,000, even if it stopped right now, $20,000. You did a darn good job. So I'm sure JDRF will accept the donations.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That being said, I feel like they have, in a way, made it hard to get into the marathon from certain aspects. I guess the number one thing I look at is I get in there and I've been there for 20 minutes. I'm like, why has no one said anything in chat? Then I realized, oh wait, chat's been disabled. Why are they disabling chat? Yeah, I don't know if we have an exact. I don't know if anyone here happens to know why they're doing that. But immediately, the first thing I see when I get in there is just, why can't I chat? And then immediately I feel disconnected. I feel not wanted, and maybe I'm just gonna move on to the next stream I'm looking at, as opposed to having to go to like their individual website.
Yeah, Sinister One. Do you think the chat is kind of a big concern?
I do, and I'm sure there's a reason they did that. I wish I knew what was kind of behind that decision. I'm sure it wasn't just on a whim or anything like that. But yeah, I think what Spike said about the kind of the disconnect, it's a big deal. I don't think there's that many streams that can pull it off. Like, I've watched very few streams that have chat disabled where I'll actually just still watch the stream regardless, and I don't care. This one, yeah. I'm not
that's
so
a big
sure.
part of it. It's the interaction.
Well, and here's the thing that I think I find just odd about it. You know, that they have their own site, which is really cool. I love the site.
Right.
The site is laid out really well.
Yeah, I guess that's maybe why, is that they want to kind of get it. You know, they want to get people on that server chatting as opposed to the Twitch chat. I guess
my only hunch is that they're trying to eliminate a lot of the just general chaos posts. You know, you get people who will just spam copy pasta or Twitch faces, and they don't want that. They want more of a serious discussion. But I think at the same time, in doing that, there are a lot of people who are going to be watching it from Twitch, and they're not going to know about crystalsforlife.ca.
I guess it's kind of like, for the GDQ marathons, they do have that alternate chat server, the QuakeNet, and they still maintain the Twitch chat as well. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'm curious. It's like, why are they opposed to doing both when that's been shown to work for other bigger live marathons, which, they are a live marathon. People
right. And I think it kind of shows too in the viewer count. It's been pretty steady. Like I guess I haven't really seen it increase over the last few days. It's kind of hovered around 1,500, maybe 2,000. But it hasn't really escalated throughout the marathon. I guess.
Well, I think it'll be nice to see kind of what happens in the aftermath. Yeah, because this is obviously a big change from anything. I can't think of another speedrunning stream where chat was disabled. I really can't. So, to kind of see if they go back and if they say, hey, this worked out great and we liked the way that it was, or if they say, you know what, maybe this is something that we're going to rethink in the future. Because, they're probably going to have this event again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not trying to say like, hey, stop Crystals for Life, like it's not working. It's certainly, it's obviously working. And like Spike said, you can set a number as a goal, but even if you don't meet the goal, it's still a lot of money raised for charity. So it's not like it's, it's not a business where you say, okay, well, we didn't meet our, profit margin or whatever. We can't continue. So
it's still an increase over last year. I think
right.
we decided they raised like 15,000 last year.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, so they're
regardless,
making more
they're still
money.
going to beat that. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and that may not be their barometer for success either. It might be,
Right.
that we had more fun this time around. We got more people involved, and the QuakeNet chat was better, and we didn't have to deal with all that Twitch nonsense. I don't know. That may be what
Yeah.
I think we just have to look into it more, I guess.
One other thing that I would say that I think matters a lot in these marathons, and I think is maybe a fair criticism, is that I felt like a lot of the runs that I've seen in Crystals for Life so far haven't had a lot of on-camera presence.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I'll tune in and it's just the runner on the couch and no one else is in the room, or there's maybe 1 or 2 people in the room with them. And I think it really just shows that dynamic matters, and having kind of, even if it's just people like tossing questions around for the sake of having a conversation, I think that helps a lot with keeping people interested. But yeah, I think the chat is kind of the number one.
Well, yeah, I would agree about that. I've checked in a couple times and I have not seen a whole bunch of people in the room, and I think that's one of the reasons that live marathons are so popular, is the fact that there are a lot of people in the room, and there is interpersonal interaction versus any other stream that you watch. It's just going to be one person. So
there's a reason why they, if they don't fill the stands, they black out a lot of sporting events. They just say, we don't want to show an empty arena. And there are more reasons for that. But it's for this reason that I'd like to see, while I think Poxor and the crew, like, obviously, from what we can tell, lovely house. It looks like they're doing a good job with it. I'd like to see it move somewhere, because I think a lot of people would be willing to go to an event like this and have fun, and just RPG speed game. Again, it's just another excuse to hang out in the back, maybe something a little different. But immediately I'm like, I got to fly to Canada? This seems like, I don't know, it sounds like an expensive trip. I'd love to maybe see somehow this migrate to the States.
And I don't think any of us are doubting that RPGs don't have fan base. Like, I don't think any of us think RPGs are unpopular. I think there is a market for that, and there are a lot of people interested in RPG speedruns. Darkman, have you had a chance to watch any of it? Do you know anything about it? What are your thoughts?
I haven't really watched a lot of it, but from what I've seen, I agree a lot with Spike in that it's just, when your chat is disabled, there's a real disconnect. And the thing that, I can understand, like Sinister is saying, if their goal isn't to like raise the 50,000, it's just to raise, whatever they can and say, hey, we raised some money, that's great. And, they have some other goals. But if your goal is to raise money, having the chat disabled is actually not a good thing, because a lot of times your chat's going to be kind of weird and, they're saying some strange things, but part of that is what builds up the hype. And when you get people talking, you get more people interested. And when you have more people interested, you have more donations.
And I think if the genuine, just not to drag the conversation out too long, but I think if the genuine concern is we don't want to moderate the chat. Like, if that's the only concern, you're saying we don't want to moderate it, it's too much work, too many people are going to misbehave, and we just don't want to put up with it. I think that just boils down to trusting other people who are going to be watching the marathon anyway. It doesn't have to be people at the event that are moderating the chat. It can be people that are watching online that you trust. Hey, I know that so-and-so is into RPGs and likes the marathon and knows these people are going to be there. They're going to watch. And I trust them to moderate it. If you can come up with a list of 30 or 40 people and hope that 3 or 4 of them are online at any given time, then I think you've got a Twitch chat there. So yeah, I don't know. I think some fair criticisms, but at the same time, hard to say that it's, you can't label it as unsuccessful. It's certainly working. They're raising a lot of money, and it's not necessarily fail if you don't raise X number of dollars. Like,
sure.
Nobody's
this
out
arbitrary number they bring up.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody's out to say that you have to maximize your income.
And it's
or
still,
like that.
as an RPG fan, I know, like, all of us are, we enjoy RPGs to some extent, at least. I'm happy to see that the event exists to, if nothing else, give more opportunities to the RPGs that will, quite frankly, never get into a GDQ.
Right.
I love Chrono Cross. And that was never going to get into a GDQ.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that had that opportunity.
Yeah, there are a lot of games in this marathon that are 9 hours or more in length. And those are probably never going to get into a GDQ again just because of the length. Or if they do, it's going to be, maybe one at an event instead of, 20 or 30. So it is a cool event. It's different. And hopefully we see some more marathons in the future of this nature, whether it's RPG related or just different genres. I like the idea of like breaking it into genres like that too. So cool stuff. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic here, which I'm going to throw to Sinister One to start with. So we're gonna get analytical here. Maybe give a little bit of a history lesson as well. But let's start with why we're bringing this up now. We're talking about cheating and speedrunning. Can you give us the most recent example here? What motivates this?
Yeah, there has been some recent cheating. It's not too high profile or anything, but it has to do with splicing, which is a classic way of cheating. You know, splicing two separate videos together to make yourself a better run. And just with how much easier it is now than maybe it used to be in the past. I mean, video editing nowadays is really just kind of point and click and drag and drop, whatever. It's not too difficult. So I think it's something that we have to be aware of, because I do think it's damaging to the community when it does happen, especially to outsiders, when, you know, like people that are outside of the speedrunning community might not necessarily understand what's going on, and then, you know, they get misinformation and they don't know, okay, well, I thought this was the record. No, that's not the record. That was cheated. So yeah, but it's something that's been going on for a long time. It's going to continue to go on. It's just, I think it's more than anything else, we need to just be aware of it so that we can be active in, you know, stopping it from going too far, I guess.
So let me ask you, without having to name names or anything, what specifically was the most recent incident that you can think of?
Well, I play Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, of course, and there's obviously, in a fight, you're going to try to get 3 knockdowns, so you want to do that as fast as possible. It's a super random game, and it would be nice if you could get, you know, the best luck possible, but that could take thousands of attempts in some cases. Why not just get the best luck in one phase and then the best luck in another phase and combine them?
Right.
Or for that matter, if I was doing a single segment run, why not just splice separate fights together, since there's a black screen in between each fight, you know, and that's something that's common to a lot of games. There's pretty much every single game is going to have transition screens where you can splice. So that's kind of a big danger. The one thing that I'm really thankful for, I would say, is the advent of streaming has made it a little more difficult to cheat, I guess. You know, most people stream, they're seen regularly, people see them fail all the time. So when they finally succeed, it's kind of like, okay, well, you know, they finally got the luck they need and executed.
Yeah. So, you know, cheating has always been around, I think, as long as, you know, speedruns have been profiled. You know, whether it was, you know, SDA, you know, having runs up that were spliced, and people not knowing genuinely for a long time that these were cheated runs. You know, they're close enough to convincing that, you know, they can slip under the radar until you kind of break them down. Here we actually have the classic example. Let me put it up on screen here. This is maybe familiar to quite a few of you. This is the TSA splice.
TSA, right.
So I guess I'm just going to ask you guys to be quiet for just a second so that the stream can hear it. But the giveaway in this video ends up being that the music is discontinuous. So go ahead and listen here. It is right at the very end. You can kind of hear there's like a little bit of a hiccup there.
Right. And that's generally the tells that you're going to see are going to be, you know, something that's either musical, or you might see a small visual abnormality. So for instance, in Punch-Out, the members of the crowd move at kind of random intervals here and there throughout the crowd. You'll see people's heads kind of popping up or going down or whatever. So if you see like a bunch of them all move at once, then that's kind of a sign that, like, oh, wait a second, this is a different crowd than the one we were just looking at a couple frames ago.
An interesting thing to note too about cheating is that it's not necessarily specific to like a world record run. You don't have to be the best player at a game to go out of your way and try to cheat. I mean, we've seen SRL races where people will activate turbo for a while in the middle of the race to catch up to somebody. Or they will load a save state if they're not sure if they can beat a section. They might save state, load state, save state, load state, and hope nobody's watching their stream. Or they might not even stream and then get proof called and not have proof. I know, like,
well, see, and that's the thing is that, like, back in the day, it was hard to proof call people, so to speak. I mean, one of the runs that people thought was cheated a long time ago was Hotarubi's Super Metroid run. He kind of got proof called, if you will, and he had to kind of defend himself against, the accusations that, no, you're cheating because this is way better than anything we've ever seen.
Right.
So, it is kind of, you have to be careful too. You can't just always jump on the, like, oh, that person's cheating.
Right.
You kind of have to make sure you have evidence, and that, okay, well,
yeah, it's very easy to accuse somebody, but if you don't have the backup evidence,
yeah. I mean, you want to look for red flags, so that could be maybe somebody that is not very well known for streaming a lot, and then all of a sudden they come out of somewhere nowhere with like a run. What I've found is that usually, thankfully, most cheaters are dumb and they are greedy. So, when they're greedy, that always bites them, because people just be like, no, that's not even possible. Like, why would you even, and the dumb part would be like just a big mistake that is so obvious to people, like, playing on emulator and then submitting it as console or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people obviously know the difference, so.
And is it fair to say that streaming obsoletes the notion that you're cheating? If I'm a streamer and I'm showing every single attempt, do I get more trust as a result of that? Or am I, still liable if I suddenly get a PB out of nowhere? Because I'm not a very good speedrunner. If I get a PB, is flack going to come my way? Like, hey, wait a minute.
I think it certainly minimizes cheating, but I still think that the most dangerous cheaters are yet to come. Because there is a new medium, there is streaming, and people are eventually going to make the effort to cheat on stream, and somebody's going to get away with it at some point. Obviously you could have pre-recorded runs, and you could play them back. I mean, people are pretty creative when it comes to this stuff.
Sure.
So,
but it comes back to I once went off on someone in my chat who was going off about a Kingdom Hearts thing he claimed he did. And it was something that we, the community, had deemed impossible, but he just talked in everyone's chat about how he did it. And eventually I just kind of yelled at him and went off while I was streaming and just said, listen, you don't have video evidence. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares what you're claiming you did. You don't have evidence.
Right.
I think there's a million different lanes that you could go through with this conversation. It's the same thing as version differences. Like, what are we going to fight for here? To me, there is this sense of, what are you trying to do here? Like, none of us, for the most part, are fighting for money or anything here. We're just trying to be recognized as the best. I think the biggest thing going forward that our community has done is we are creating these channels for people to always check in and say, here's the guy who always runs Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Here's the guy who did that at AGDQ, and now I get to watch that. More so than, I hate to downgrade world records or recorded runs, stuff that you have, but I almost feel like that's just its own kind of, that was its moment. And now we're going to move on and have many more moments after that. So if you're going to take the time to just say, you know what, I've got this, I'm going to splice this run together, and now people are going to have it. I feel like this is not as big of a deal to viewers these days.
Well, I'd like to respond. I want to say that, I do hear what you're saying. I agree with a lot of that. And I think that, as we covered at the top of the show, Romscout's going to be a Twitch admin now, right? And the growth of the community, if you think about, in the future, there's going to be more money involved in streaming. Sure. And I think that's when you're going to see more of an uptick in cheating, is when it's worth it for people to kind of get something out of it. Like right now, you wouldn't get a whole lot out of it. But, in the future, what if like the world, having the world record in Super Metroid meant that, you got like a bunch of money or something like that? I don't know. But do you see what I mean?
You get like thousands of viewers because you are the record holder and you did it on stream.
Right.
Something
right.
Like
so
that.
there could be some monetary value in it, which I think then you will see people, because nowadays it's like people cheat because either they think it's simple and they can get away with it, or they're just that like deeply into it. Like there's been a couple cases. I know that one case I was told about in a different, like it was another community. A guy actually invented an alternate persona, which he used to compete with himself at the time that he was the top player. And he fooled pretty much the entire community for a long time with this. It was just a total ruse, but eventually, obviously, people caught on. But there's some people out there that are really dedicated to cheating. It's crazy.
Sure.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, the amount of effort they put into cheating, they could probably turn around and put into a really good run if they invested that much time into that.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. It's like if you spent the amount of hours that you spent on the cheating on the actual game, you might have just gotten the record anyway.
All right, let's wrap this up here. Darkman, you want to jump in quick? Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick point. Like, especially coming from since I am an SRL voice, I see a lot of, what happens in races. The number one thing that I think is really underrated that people need to pay attention to is cooperation. Like, you have a lot of people that get very defensive when they get called out, when people ask, hey, can we see your stream? Did you stream this? That kind of thing. And what I want everybody to understand is we're not calling you out, or we're not, saying you cheated. We just need to make sure everything's all right. Because if we let things go, you let one thing go, then 2 things come up, then 5 things come up, then 15 things come up. And suddenly you have more people cheating than not cheating. So that's what I think is a real big problem. And I hope that people can understand that moving forward.
Yeah, voices do your jobs. Exactly. That's the motto. No, it's good though. Like, I mean, yeah, you're keeping people honest, and people need to recognize that it's not an assault on their person or something. You're just trying to make sure everything's in order, and you're doing your job, and they're doing theirs. So yeah, that's a little bit of an overview of cheating as it is. I'm sure there's more questions. Maybe we'll tackle a few in a few minutes here.
I'm glad we closed this topic. I'm glad there's nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, that's right. No more cheating in speedrunning, guys. As of today, cheating is canceled. So there we go. Wonderful. We're doing a service to the community here on today's episode. All right, let's keep going. We've got this week's record setter coming up here. And this week we are taking a look at Jaden's A Link to the Past run. Now, this category is one that maybe you guys aren't very familiar with. This is all dungeons, no exploration glitch, which basically translates to a lot of out of bounds, right, Sinister?
Yes. Actually, you should be asking, right, Darkman? I'm pretty sure he did the commentary for this game at SGDQ.
That's right.
Are you
Darkman,
real
I remember
familiar
that,
with this category, Darkman, or?
I have watched some of it. I've not watched the whole run, but basically, all dungeons no EG is combining no EG, which
no evil
is of course.
Yep.
Yeah, the exploration glitch. So you basically just go out of bounds all the time, but you have to complete all the dungeons. So it's really interesting the way Jaden goes about this. Like, the route is funny. Like, I believe he does Helma Sword 3rd, which is like that's of course in the Dark World. And then he ends up doing like Land Molus, which is supposed to be the second boss, like 6th or something like that. So it's just a really like wonky route. It's really neat seeing Jaden put the time into it. And it's a really cool watch.
And you do have to fight Aghanim right before you fight Ganon.
Yes.
Which is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
You fight Aghanim 2,
yeah.
and then you fight Aghanim 1, and then you fight Ganon. It's like really strange.
Right.
Awesome.
And that's just to meet the all dungeons criteria. Am I correct in saying that?
That is correct.
Okay.
Shoutouts to having the biggest element of RNG at the literal very
end of the game.
Now, is it safe to say that this category, I mean, it's obviously been around for a long time, but I feel like no one's really picked it up or done anything with it. Is it new? Is it catching on for, like, is it just like the happening run right now, or like what's motivating people to want to pick this up now?
I wouldn't even say it's the happening run. It's really something Jaden and ACM, as far as I know, are the only people that have actually done this. It's something that just came about really recently, as far as I know. I haven't heard of anybody doing it ever since the whole IPA glitch was found. Like, I'm pretty sure this is a relatively new category.
Okay, yeah, I've heard some other runners expressing interest in this as well, but it seems like it's still kind of under the radar.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's comparable to, say RBO, Reverse Boss Order, and Super Metroid. Like, it's kind of an arbitrary category, but at the same time, there's a lot to it, and it's fun, and it's challenging. So, yeah, I think more people will get on board with it as it goes along.
What I like about it...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, what I like about it, is which makes it a great watch, is because you're just out of bounds all the time. Like, in the whole any % no S&Q run, I mean, it's a great run, don't get me wrong, but you don't really get to showcase how screwed up Link to the Past is. And that's what I really like about runs like this.
Yeah, this is one of those, like, crowd pleaser runs where it's just, blowing people's minds, so to speak. I mean, that's what they say all the time, but
It reminds me of, I think a run that brought a lot of people into watching speedrunning was Cosmo's MS2 run from HDQ 2012, where,
Sure.
yeah, you are getting to showcase a lot of the game, but you're also showcasing a lot of ways that, like, say, the game is screwed up. So
Right.
Yeah.
it looks like a really interesting category. I'd love to see this at a Future Marathon. We've talked about how we've seen so much no S&Q in marathons. This looks like another one I'd like to see down the road at some point.
Well, I think that if we do see it, I really hope there's an incentive for hand cam, because watching Jaden play with hand cam is amazing, by the way.
Yeah, that requires a lot of inputs.
If you think this is good, I hope you guys are really gonna like know EG that Jaden's gonna do this marathon. Like that is honestly, I'm really looking forward to that run because Jaden doing it is just such a really good run. And hopefully, if Andy wants to do it, he can do a race too, and it'll be a really fun race. It's a great run to watch.
Yeah, so we'll look for development in this category in the near future. I think there's going to be some interest beyond just Jaden, but of course, even if it was just Jaden, he'd be pushing it even further regardless. So good stuff there. And let's keep going here because we're a little bit behind schedule, but let's go out of bounds for just a second. It's time to check in on this week's gym update, guys. So Cypher posted this picture on Twitter earlier this week, and it got me thinking. He found his doppelganger, and it turns out that his doppelganger lifts. Okay, like let's take a look at this. Show that on stream there. That's pretty convincing. In case you've been wondering what he's been doing,
instead of streaming.
Right,
yeah,
instead of streaming.
Cypher disappeared like since AGDQ. Yeah.
All right,
and
now
this
we know
is the result.
Yeah, now we know where he's been. He's been speed lifting. So
he has been at the gym. You know, Caleb told him, he was like, dude, Cypher, man, you're just skinny, man. And Cypher didn't like that. So he was like, oh, I'm going to show you, Caleb. Yeah, I think Caleb's got some catching up to do, is what it looks like.
Yeah, a lot of work. I don't know. I feel like there's going to be an arm wrestling match at SGDQ.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We need it now, yeah.
Do any of you ever like get called out as like, hey, you look like so and so, or do you have like a famous lookalike?
Everybody, well, since it's if it's speedrunning community, everybody always says that I look like Little Mac.
You look like Little Mac.
I've
heard that.
What
I
say.
heard they designed Little Mac in the new Smash game to look exactly like you.
Apparently, that's the rumor. But I've heard all kinds of other stuff too. But we'll just stick with Little Mac since that's in the speedrunning.
Okay, all right. Anybody else have any lookalikes? It doesn't have to be yourself either. It could be like someone else.
As the brown guy in the speedrunning community, no, not really.
I don't know. I've been told I don't think it would apply now because I don't have like my hair grown out or anything. But I've been told like every once in a while I get somebody in my chat that thinks I look like Robin Williams.
Ooh.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
Interesting.
It's a little bit. You can see it.
Yeah, you got to make more funny faces.
Yeah, I gotta
weird.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. I don't know. The one that I always think is hilarious. Like the first time I watched Our White Goose, I thought I was watching Vince Vaughn. I was convinced. Like, okay, straight out of Dodgeball, he came right over here to start running GoldenEye. But yeah,
I apparently look like every fat Jew from Hollywood. I either look like Seth Rogen, John C. Reilly. I'm a thin Jonah Hill. I'm a fat Michael Cera. You need a fat Canadian Jew in Hollywood. I'm your guy.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I thought that was kind of funny. So I thought we'd share that, and yeah, I'm sure there's quite a few lookalikes out there. But all right, let's move on. We're getting to the end here, guys. Let's make fun of somebody else while we're at it. Let's go to Glitch Please. It's our blooper of the week. This is Enop reacting to getting a new subscriber and losing his run at the same time. Take a listen. There he is, getting the subscriber, finding out. Welcome to the sub club, Midas. All right, now let's get back to the action.
Wow.
Oops. Look at that reaction face.
That face.
He's frozen, dude.
Yeah.
All right, run's dead. Run's dead. Oh. Oh. Oh, man. Don't. Oh. Hands
reaction.
Okay, now listen. Everybody, listen to his reaction here.
That's your fault, Midas. I was gonna say thank you, and then the run died. Thank you so much, Midas, for subscribing and ruining the run.
Thank you so much for subscribing and ruining the run. I love it.
Right under the bus.
Yeah.
Right under the bus goes the new sub.
And the sub count exploded after that. Everybody else wanted to jump in and ruin the run. Like, oh man. That's funny. Anop's a funny guy. Guys, if you have highlights, if you have bloopers, if you have news information, anything that you want to see on the show, if you want us to talk about something, if you have a good play that you want to show, if you have something that didn't go well, please submit it to our email that I never managed to point at. It's always opposite of the way I think it is. It's right there. thefinalsplit@gmail.com. Be sure to send us those clips. We need them so that we can use them. So thanks again for the submissions, guys. And while you're at it, be sure to check us out on all these different mediums too, because we tweet when we go live. So follow us on Twitter. Check out our YouTube for previous episodes, and follow the Twitch page. Those are all good things to do. All right, guys, get your questions and answers ready for our guest, Darkman, as well as if you have questions for us in general. It's time for the boss rush. Time for those final questions. Sinister One, I know you always have a question.
I'm coming back to you on the poker thing, dude. Did you think of the worst?
You won't let this go.
Worst beat you've ever taken? Come on, I know every good poker player remembers all their bad beats. It's just,
good poker.
It's natural. Hey, he's good, dude. I've played with this guy before, man. There's not one that comes to mind.
He always wins.
He's just he's
man,
lost.
that's probably what it
takes
is.
Every pot.
You know, the thing is, like, I haven't really played a lot of hands that I would consider, like, extremely significant. So, I don't know. I tend to just, like, lock them away and not really worry about it.
Right. If you lose, you just kind of shake it off. Like,
this is why he's good, because he just doesn't even care. Someone like me, it sticks with me for years. I remember a hand I played like 7 years ago. I got one.
I'm like Phil Hellmuth. You know, I get up and like flip the table and start cursing everywhere, and I walk off and like talk to like 30 different people about the hand. Like, can you believe that? I'm talking to like some old lady. She doesn't know what poker is, and I'm like, I had a 2-7. I had a 2-7. The flop was 2-2-7. I still lost.
There was a quick hand that stuck out to me. Not that I really, like, it didn't bust me or anything. It was just kind of, like, early on in the tournament, but for some reason I remember it well. It was, like, a hand that we got, like, 6-way on the flop. And it was, like, I think I want to say I had a straight. Like, it was a flop straight. And, like, you had the other guy betting really hard. And you had the other guy raised me all in. I'm like, all right, well, I have the nuts, so I'm in. And the other guy's in. So we have a three-way action. The guy that raised me all in had, like, a pair and, like, a straight draw or something. And the other guy that was initially the better had, like, I think a set of queens. And turn was insignificant, and turn was insignificant, and river made in the boat. So it was... I don't know, like, what it is about that hand, because, like, I feel like if I won that hand, I would have done a lot better in that tournament than had I not won it. But it's just something about that hand kind of stuck out to me.
Interesting choice. I like it.
I like all the poker lingo that's going on.
Yeah,
like,
we're gonna
a few of us know what you're talking about, and there's like 90% of the chat's like,
they're
like, what the hell is
this? It's just habit.
We're going to have the World Poker Tour dictionary on the bottom. You know, like every time I love this. World Poker Tour intentionally uses words so that they can like pop up a definition on the bottom of the screen.
Right.
And it'll be like some term you've never heard of either, right? Like it's just not even a real term. They're like, oh, well, he's got the smoking potatoes. And then it'll pop up and be like, smoking potatoes, 8 of spades and 6 of hearts. Like, okay. All right.
Please make that a thing.
It's got some smoking potatoes over here. Okay, let's take a look at some questions from the chat now that we've stalled long enough.
Yes.
All right, some of your 502 buddies have questions for you. Excelsior would like to know, what's your favorite kind of pie?
Ooh, that's a good question. I love pie. I would have to go with a pecan pie.
Pecan
pie is pretty good.
All right. Spike?
Yes.
Spike, favorite pie?
Apple.
Apple pie. Sinister One?
Cherry pie.
Cherry pie. All right, I'm gonna go with French silk pie. I like French silk pie. Yeah, like the chocolate.
What is French silk?
It's like chocolate. You get like whipped cream on the top. You get multiple layers of chocolate. Basically, is what it boils down to. But
oh wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's see.
Some ice cream with my pie as well, please. Just putting that out there.
Oh yeah. Let's see. More questions.
I'm just gonna say while you're figuring that out, somebody asked me which Mega Man game I would speedrun if I was going to speedrun one. The answer would be Mega Man 2. I love that game.
That's a good game. Very good.
I've wondered that since you're such an NES guy. Which Mega Man?
Yes, I would go for 2. I really like 3 and 4 as well for speedrunning, but 3 just looks too brutal to even Gemini Man RTA. Oh my god, I can't
itself.
I can't handle it.
Yeah. So even given the difficulty of obtaining like the record in 2 at this point, I mean, I feel like that's really competitive.
Yeah, no. I would probably just play it for fun. For if anything,
Sure.
maybe to like race at a marathon or
Okay.
something like that, because there'd be
Sure.
enough,
Right.
maybe enough people we could do like a 3-way race or something like that.
I think it would be a fun side game. That's a really good game.
Yeah.
Let's see. Someone was asking about 502 runs, so we mentioned Darkman's Mega Man 5 run, but did you also do Street Fighter Cross Mega Man for 502 as well?
Yes, I did. So, as I was explaining at the beginning of the show, I don't know if we had that recorded, but basically, Oxus was supposed to start off the marathon on Friday morning, and he tweeted like 45 minutes before the start that, hey, I'm running late because of school. So he said at least it was going to be 30 minutes, and we're like, oh, crap. I wasn't even planning on being up at that time. I just happened to be up. So we're like, what are we going to do? And I was like, well, I mean, I guess I could run Street Fighter Cross Mega Man. I mean, probably at my current. Keep in mind, I haven't played the game like at all since SGDQ, so I'm obviously incredibly rusty. So I was like, well, maybe it'll take like 30 minutes with my current skill level. So I played it, got a time worse than my SGDQ run, which had a 6-minute mistake. So you can imagine how well it went.
Nice.
But that was a fun time. I call it the comedy run. It was a good time.
Comedy runs are always
Step up to
good.
the
They're
plate.
underrated. Yeah. You don't always have to have a great run to have an enjoyable watch. So, Countdown wants to know, why is the fence clip the hypest clip in all of speedrunning?
Because it's literally the only thing that's broken about Quest 64.
It's true. That's the answer. It's the only thing that's broken. I saw some other questions here.
So well made.
Darkman, better Afro, Spike or Trihex?
I'm going to go with Spike. I love the Spike Afro.
I was about to say, I can leave the room and let this be a secret.
All
I
right.
will watch the recording afterwards.
Let's see. I thought I saw one more really good one. Favorite run so far in the 502 marathon?
Ooh, good question. I would have to say it was either Gimmick or Trip World. And I would probably say Gimmick because the first 2 minutes of that run was just comedy. It was so good.
It was really good. Yeah, I had a lot of fun watching
Also,
that one too.
A close second was Golden's run because Golden, you did a really good job with your Mega Man 6 run. So
Thank you.
just big
Yeah,
shout out to that.
I was 2 seconds off of PB. So
Yeah.
that was really
Dang,
cool. Couldn't
really?
have. Yeah, I actually was going to PB, except I used one too many spears on Wily 1. So I didn't have enough for the refights. I had to pause and switch. If I didn't have to pause and switch, I would have PB'd by like 10 seconds. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
what can you
Brutal.
do? It was. I'm really. It's
That's
pretty awesome.
36 though.
Yeah.
You'd take a 36 at SGDQ.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That I'm like, hey, if I even just like hang in there, if I get a 37 or maybe even a 38, I might be okay. Well, 38 maybe I'm not okay with, but yeah, no,
It
that
all
was.
depends. The number isn't everything.
That's right.
Yeah, that's great.
That's right. Okay. Let's go ahead and wrap it up here. It's time for the speech.
Oh God,
And
nothing.
I think we decided before the show that since I've been dodging it for 8 weeks so far, I have to give it this time. Is that
that is correct.
Yeah, that
is
sounds
that what's
great.
going down? All right, fine. I almost managed to make it to double digits without having to, but all right.
Thought we wouldn't notice.
Yeah, that's right. So RSM happened this actually yesterday or a few hours ago, I guess, depending on what your time zone is. But that was the live marathon that was done in Sweden at a gaming convention. They had an audience there watching. It wasn't an audience of just other speedrunners or fans of speedrunning. This is a gaming convention that just brought people together to celebrate classic games. And I guess the takeaway from that is that I think that looked like a lot of fun to participate in. You're demonstrating something in front of an audience that maybe isn't familiar with it, or even if they are, it's not your typical audience. You're not going to look behind you and see all these different speedrunners that you recognize. So it kind of gives you almost like a different feel from like playing on the home field. And I think that would be a lot of fun to do. And I hope that more events like that happen, maybe even stateside. I think that would be a lot of fun. I know a couple of weeks ago we mentioned MagFest maybe being a possibility. I think that would be a lot of fun. So hopefully somebody takes initiative and maybe makes it happen. somewhere else in the world, because I think that would be a lot of fun. So that's my thoughts. I thought they did a really good job on RSM too, by the way. So yeah, that's what I have to say. That's it. I don't know whether
I agree.
whether that's what you wanted to hear or not. Maybe next time I'll just give a speech on food or something.
You need to cry during your speech.
Yeah, I get emotional.
Yeah, we haven't had that yet. That's
maybe that's a good thing though. Maybe we don't want anybody crying on the show.
We got to get that emotional speech eventually. It's gonna happen.
I was actually going to give a sappy speech if you guys forced me to do it.
Oh, you should have told us
only
that.
tell us that now?
Yeah.
I didn't want you guys to make me do it.
Before the show, he didn't want to give a speech. Yeah.
There wasn't even going to be a speech or words. It was just
Dark Man, come on. All right, guys. Be sure to follow the Dark Man, by the way, on Twitch. And you want to give your Twitter out as well? I think it's the same, right?
Same, yeah.
Twitch and Twitter, the Darkman78. And notice that the E is actually an A.
Yeah.
It's not a typo. That is correct. And Sinister One, Spike Vegeta, thanks again as always. Couldn't do without you guys. Guys, next week on the show we're gonna have Feasel. Feasel's gonna be on the show. We're 2 out of 4 Sunday Sequence Break hosts. We're slowly acquiring them one at a time. It's gonna be fun.
We'll get them to
and my Rescue Rangers 2 partner at SGDQ.
There you go. There you go. So awesome. It's gonna be fun. I believe that they're on episode 100 this week of the Sunday Sequence Break. I think. Don't quote me on it, but I think they're either on episode 100 or they're really dang close.
Yeah. I know because they've skipped a couple of weeks recently, so I'm trying to see, are they there? Are they not?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they've hit it yet. So it's either like tomorrow's episode or very very soon.
It's whatever the next episode. I know they had 99 last week. It's 100.
Okay, it's 100. Cool. So be sure to check them out as they celebrate their 100th, and come back next week as we celebrate our 10th. That's enough. Yeah.
I still want us to have our top 10 episode countdown.
There we go. Yeah, that's it. All right, guys. Well, until next week when we have Feasel on the show, May 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern. Just remember that your run is not over until you hit Sinister One.
The final split.
We'll see you then. Have a good one, guys.